Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live television, radio. Y'all bear with me. As all of you know, my name is Yvonne Mason, and this is my show, Off the Chain.
I'm the Music God, CJ Plain, and if you're looking for a fun, exciting, interesting new show to check out Off the Chain with Yvonne Mason. It is going to be an awesome time for all with all kinds of amazing featured artists and guest interviews and a lot of other great stuff, including me. I will be on there myself at some point, and you will hear my arcane sense of weird knowledge, humor, and off-the-wall antics. You know where to find her. Yvonne Mason, off the chain.
Good evening, everyone. As you can tell with live radio, anything can happen, and often does. My name is Yvonne Mason, and I am a best-selling independent author, and this is called Off the Chain. Those of you who know me know why I call my show Off the Chain. I am eclectic, I am eccentric, I have flying monkeys, I have an assortment of friends and family that they're as off the chain as I am, which makes life very interesting. This is our debut show, and I would like to invite anyone out there who is within this listening audience or who will listen in the archives at a later date. If you would like to join me, contact me. I am on Facebook under Yvonne Mason. I have a web page. It's authoryvonnemason.com. You can email me at yvonnemason84@yahoo.com. I am open to anything as long as it's not illegal, pornographic, or unethical. With that being said, tonight's show is called The Legacy. Last July, we lost our 13-year-old granddaughter to an asthma attack. To say it was a shock is an understatement. It was as if a light went out of our lives. She lived more in those 13 years than most of us live, even if we live to be 100 years old. Remonda left her imprint of those she met. She loved deeply and forgave freely. Her ultimate gift was the gift of her organs, which her parents so unselfishly gave. She is responsible for giving others the chance to live. One could say that she gave the greatest gift of all. Her mother, my daughter Brandy Highfield, is on this show tonight, along with a young lady named Kaisha, who is with LifeLink of Georgia, who will be talking to us shortly about organ donation and the importance of it. We will also be talking about later on in the show a named scholarship that we have set up for Remonda through the Florida JCI Senate. It will, when we get the $20,000 collected, a young person, a senior at a Florida high school, will be awarded a $1,000 scholarship. The scholarship is perpetual, and the reason that we see it is because we're awarded every year. What we do is we take that $20,000, we invest it, and then we use the interest of the money toward the $1,000 scholarship. Our hope is, with criteria for this scholarship, is that a young person who is going either into the medical field, the research field, the EMT field, to be a doctor, a nurse, an EMT, even a fireman, research into biology, into medicines, in the pharmaceutical company in order to find a cure for asthma. There are over 625,000 children under the age of 15 that die every year because of asthma. Tonight, we will tell you the story of one of those victims who left a legacy that is bigger than life. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my daughter, Brandy Highfield. Say hi, Bran.
Hi.
And Kaisha. Miss Kaisha, would you let the audience know you're out there?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be a part of the show, the first one, and to celebrate Remonda's legacy with you all.
Well, we're glad to have you. And what I would like to do before we get into Remonda's legacy, since you will be having leave us shortly, is explain a little bit to my listening audience about the importance of organ donation, how one can be an organ donor, and that, no, you're not out there harvesting organs like vampires in the night, throwing them in a ice chest and running off to the nearest airport with them.
Right. Well, LifeLink is the state's organ recovery organization, so we recover organs here in Georgia. And like you said, organ donors truly give a gift that no one else can, which is the gift of life. One organ donor has the potential to save up to 8 lives, and if you donate your tissues, you can help up to 50 more people. So donation truly is something that you decide to do with the hopes of helping someone improve their quality of life. Donation is very regulated. If you decide to be a donor, you can designate your decision online at donatelifegeorgia.org, or when you get or renew your driver's license, you can check that box to say yes to donation. And I know, Yvonne, that your audience could be throughout the world, so if you are not here in Georgia, you can visit Donate Life America and designate your decision to be an organ donor on their site.
So what if, say I have someone call in, maybe they'll call in later or something and say, well, I live in Europe. Is there an international organ donation?
Yes, you can donate your organ throughout the world, so it's not limited to just America. You can sign up to be a donor anywhere.
Well, there you go, folks. Now, understand that, and Kaisha can back me up on this because she and I talked about this, if someone becomes an organ donor, if they are an adult and decides to become an organ donor and they have signed all the prerequisite paperwork, and LifeLink comes in after everything has been done to save that person. Am I not correct, Kaisha? When
yes,
someone,
the hospital.
Go ahead.
The hospital, the nurses, the doctors will do absolutely everything they can to save a life. It's when those efforts have failed, and that's when donation is considered. After you have passed away and you want to be an organ donor, then LifeLink can facilitate that process for you.
And once someone has done that paperwork, they and they're an adult, it is a done deal. The only thing that you all require from family members is medical history. Is that correct?
Yes, once you decide to be an organ donor and you're over the age of 18, then you have consented for yourself that you want to be an organ donor. We do still talk to the family, like you said, so it's also important to tell your family your wishes. It helps them with that end-of-life process, and making all of those decisions is easier when they know what your wishes are.
So that's going to segue into what Brandy and John did. Before I bring Brandy in, I want to read something, and this is going to be very difficult for my daughter and probably very difficult for me, but it is important because this segues into what Kaisha is talking about, because the children made a very unselfish decision at a very difficult time. So everyone bear with me and let me read this. This is called Flying High. The year was 2001, a year that will forever stay imprinted on my mind. My oldest daughter just informed me that she was going to have yet another child. This would be her 5th. I was not happy. She was not married, but this time it was different. The father of this child wanted her and the other children. He loved her and wanted to marry her. I must admit, he was not what I have wanted for my daughter. He was on a fast track to self-destruct. He had lost his parents by the time he was 15, his mother to a gunshot blast and his father to a heart attack. He had lost the sister that raised him to murder via brake lines cut on her car. He was a train wreck. But my Brandy saw something in him, something good and decent and kind. If I were to say the path they chose was easy, I would be lying. It was not. John still had to work through grief of losing his loved ones. He had unresolved anger issues. He was constantly put down by other family members. He had to work through words that had been said to him that were unkind and destructive. He had to understand that inside was a good man, one who could make something of himself. He was not quite there yet. That is, until the day his daughter was born. He always said that she saved him. Kaisha, tell me, when you all talk to a family, how difficult it is.
Well, fortunately for us, we have a team of people who are trained and able to help a family through that grief process. So for them, it's just a matter of making sure they understand the option that's in front of them and the wish that their loved one had. In terms of just being there while a family is grieving, that's the hard part. It's always hard to see someone go, but it's a beautiful thing when you realize that through a decision that they made, so many more people are going to have a chance at life again, people that are near death themselves. And that's what we remind the families that we talk to, is that their loved one is giving someone life. And in that giving, they're creating a legacy for themselves that will last past their lifetime, because they're going to be giving another life to someone else. So in helping them through the donation process, we're able to help them honor that legacy. And that's something that we take very seriously. It's touching, it's humbling each time that we go and talk to families, but seeing the other side is what brings light to the journey.
Brandy, are you still with me, sweetheart?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. I want you to tell the listening audience, because we're going to go back and do the history, but since we have Kaisha for only a short time, I want you to tell the listening audience how marvelous and your experience with Tracy and with Lifelink of Georgia when y'all were at Scottish Rite.
They were amazing. They told us everything, explained everything. If we had questions, they answered them. Even if they seemed stupid questions, they answered them. They explained everything to us, how everything was going to work. Erica Plunkett was a big help. She helped us make the best decisions to help save other lives through our daughter, Remonda.
Let me ask you this. Was this something that you and John had talked about prior to the baby being brought to Scottish Rite?
No, it never crossed our mind because we thought she was coming home.
When did you discuss the organ donation?
When Dr. Henry, who is totally amazing, and Amber Twinwood, who is absolutely out of this world amazing, when they told us there was nothing else that could be done because they had run 6 brain tests on Remonda to see if there was any brain activity, because they never gave up. They were going to do what they could, and if any way possible, to save her, but it was too late. When they let us know that she was completely brain dead, we talked to Lifelink, Erica, came in and explained things to us about organ donation. And at first, my husband did not want to do it. And then his adopted papa sat down and talked to him and told him that would be a wonderful thing to do, is to help save others. And that's when we decided to donate Remonda's organs.
Do you regret your decision?
No.
How many people were the recipients? Because Kaisha has said that up to 8, sometimes as high as, 13, Kaisha?
8 lives can be saved by one organ donor, yes, Yvonne.
Okay, so how many lives were saved because of Remonda?
4. 3 grown adults, a female and 2 males, and then a 12-year-old little girl received her heart.
Did you donate her corneas?
Yes, we donated her cornea so somebody would get the gift of sight.
Now, in the next hour or so, we'll talk about Remonda. But what is your feeling? I know what my feeling is, but for the listening audience, I want them to know how you and John feel about those recipients and the fact that they have an opportunity to do great things.
Our daughter's legacy lives on. And as far as I'm concerned, I have a 12-year-old little girl that I have not met yet holding my daughter's heart is beating in her chest, and she has a second chance at life to grow up to be president, a doctor, a nurse, whatever her little heart desires to be.
Kaisha, do you find that when LifeLink talks to the donors, that this theme runs through the attitude of the family members that donate life?
I do. Knowing that their loved one's legacy lives on becomes very important because it's something that they gave, it's something Remonda gave that no one else could. So this girl is alive because of the compassion of your family. And that's something to hold on to, knowing that she'll grow up and become an adult and have a family of her own, thanks largely in part to a decision that you all made as a unit. So it certainly is a theme that's recurring from family to family.
Do you all have volunteers that speak both on both sides, both as donors and donor families and then as recipients? Because recipients sometimes will feel probably guilty that someone had to die in order for them to get the gift of life. And they should not feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in that?
You are, because the recipient didn't do anything to cause this. Just like, as you all know, in Remonda's case, it was an asthma attack. And from that event, you all made a decision to give the gift of life. So it's not something that they should be sad about, although I can understand that feeling. We do, though, to go back to your first question, have a volunteer program called the Transplant Advocacy Group. We have both donor families and transplant recipients that go out and share their story and talk about donation. In fact, I just had a donor mom with me today as I went out and spoke to a class of a driver's ed class for high school students. And those volunteers help us put a face to donation. I think organ donation is something we all know about, but we don't necessarily learn that someone has been touched by donation or transplantation. So we have a group of people that are committed to educating our communities about organ and tissue donation, and we value them and what they do.
If someone wanted someone from your organization to come and speak, how would they get in contact with you?
Visit our website at lifelinkfoundation.org, and you'll find everything you need to tell us that you want us to come out and speak. So I would say go online, and we will respond to you via email and have someone come out to you.
Brandy, if you had to do it over, would you?
Yes.
Do you feel a sense of peace because Remonda does? I mean, we are linked to these perfect strangers by Remonda's organs. Our blood beats in their hearts. So do you feel a sense of peace?
I do feel peace, but it's also sad.
True. And of course, go ahead, baby.
But on Remonda's Facebook page, I guess that's what she wanted.
Why do you say that?
Because on her occupation,
It's
her
okay.
occupation, where on your Facebook page it says your work, where you work at.
Yeah.
She said, I work for God.
Out of the mouth of babes comes wisdom. Kaisha, that is a testament that please carry when you go and do PR work, that baby said that.
Yes, certainly will.
And I know that you need to go. I'm not rushing you off, but I know that you've got something else you need to do. And if you need to go now, I'm perfectly okay with it. You tell me when you need to leave. Brandy, are you okay, honey?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Kaisha, give us the links again, both for LifeLink of Georgia, LifeLink International, LifeLink America, and the advocacy. And what I'll do is I'll also look them up and put them on the page itself.
Okay, well, LifeLink, you can find us at lifelinkfoundation.org. And then you can find donatelifeamerica.org. And you can also use organdonor.gov to find information just about general organ and tissue donation things.
And what are your parting words for anyone who has donated, become a recipient, or is thinking about it being an organ donor?
Well, with LifeLink, we work to recover those life-saving organs for transplant. So I am primarily with donor families, and we have a service that we put together every year just to honor and celebrate their life. And we give a picture frame on some years. And on that frame it says, I thought of you with love today. And I just think that's a beautiful sentiment for both sides, donor and recipient, because, of course, we think of our loved ones with love, those who have passed. And then for the recipients, they also think of their donor with love. So just to know that organ donors and their families are surrounded by loving thoughts and people that are keeping them lifted through their gratitude. That's what I'd like to leave people with.
Before you go, Kaisha, we are going to get to meet, and I know the little girl's name. I know her mom's name. The little girl's name is Holly, and they are wanting to meet us.
I'm so happy that
you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kaisha. We lost Kaisha.
Oh.
She dropped off. I don't know if she dropped off. Kaisha, if you're listening, call back in. I don't know why we lost her.
I don't know.
Well, maybe she'll call us. There she is. She called back. See if I can get her here. Come on, Kaisha. Kaisha, we lost you. Yes, we lost you.
I was saying, Brady, I'm so happy your family has an opportunity to meet the recipient. So that's going to be a lovely moment for you guys.
Yeah, going to be happy tears. I've also reached out to the other 3 recipients. I haven't heard anything yet, but the door is open, the mailbox is open. Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting on them. So if they feel like writing, I'm here waiting.
Well, it's good you've taken that step, and hopefully they'll write soon. They may be just trying to get their words together. It's a big step for both sides, so really happy.
And that is fine. But Melinda wrote me a very, very sweet card. I know it took a lot of courage for her to write it, because I scared the whole neighborhood the day I got it, because I was screaming in joy and jumping up and down on my front porch.
Oh, wow.
And I read it, and And I called my mom, and she's like, I was FaceTiming Mom, and she's like, what is wrong? Your face is puffy. You've been crying. So I read her the card. I read her the card, and I have been on cloud 9 ever since then because I know it's coming.
It's coming.
I know the day is coming, and I'm so anxious to meet Hailey. I'm not going to call her a little girl. She is a young lady. She received a heart full of love, full of caring, a heart of gold. And I told her mom in one of my letters, I said, if she tells you to stop by Racetrack or Quick Trip and grab her a slushie and Slim Jim, blame it on Remonda because that was Ramonda's favorite.
That was Ramonda's favorite. And for everyone that's out there that's listening to this radio show, my name is Yvonne Mason. This show is called Off the Chain. This is my debut radio show, very first show. We decided we were going to set the precedent tonight by calling the show The Legacy. The legacy is not the death of my granddaughter, but the life of my 13-year-old granddaughter who died at 13 due to an asthma attack. And for those of you all that do not know, asthma kills 625,000 children a year under the age of 15. That's a lot of children. That's a lot of future that we lose to an asthma attack. My guest tonight is Remonda's mother, Brandy Highfield, and my brand new friend who I just have fallen in love dearly with, Miss Kaisha with Lifelink of Georgia. And she's going to have to leave me soon, and I'm just don't know what I'm going to do because she is just an amazing person. So one more time, Kaisha, tell the folks about organ donation and how important it is.
Well, like I said before, thank you again for having me here and to spread the word about organ donation because it truly is a gift that no one else can give. Organ donors provide the gift of life through organ donation, and they also are able to enhance the quality of life for several more through tissue donation. One organ donor can save up to 8 lives, and a tissue donor can enhance the lives of 50 more. So truly, giving that gift of life to someone is changing several other people, not just the person that you donate to, but the people that they impact and reach as well. And thank you again for having me. I'm going to hop off here in a bit, but I so appreciate being a part of your inaugural show. Brandy, it was a pleasure meeting you and learning more about Remonda. And y'all keep in touch. And we'll
thank you. Before you hop off, Kaisha, volunteers call in and let them tell their story.
Yes.
Can you work that out for me?
Yes, we will be in touch.
All right,
and
darling.
if you're not an organ donor, what are you waiting for? You can't
Absolutely.
take it with you. Donate it. Save
there
lives.
You go.
Yes.
The mama has spoken.
The mama has spoken.
Kaisha, thank you again for taking time out of your night to visit with us and educate the public about the importance of donating organs and what joy it brings on both sides. And get with me after the show is over, maybe tomorrow.
Sure.
Get with me.
I will do that.
Set up a show with some of your volunteers.
Absolutely. Thanks again, and you guys have a great first show.
You too, sweetheart.
You too.
Thank you.
It's nice meeting you.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was Kaisha from Lifelink of Georgia. We started the show off, and I forgot to mention the Footprints in Me was written and performed by my nephew, Mark Stokes. He is an up-and-coming musical artist. And there is a song I want to play right quick that is also, if it will come up, that is also by Mark. You will understand it when you hear it. The promo was done by my friend Christopher Plain, who will be on my show next week. Hold on just a moment. Let's see if we can play this one.
patiently for you to say you'll be here to stay. I'm looking up at the sky and each star shines so bright, and I think of you, and it brings tears to my eyes, tears to my eyes. I'm running from what I fear, and I could really use you here. I need you by my side. I'm on my knees, begging your heart not to hide. I'm trying to let you know I'm trying to let you know I will not let you go. I'm running from what I fear, and I could really use you here. I hope that you'll be by my side when things get tough. I know that we tried. If a word I could tell you I love you, I can't, I won't, I don't know how to. Please stay, even if it's just one more day.
That again was my nephew Mark Stokes, and this fits Remonda, does it not, Brandy?
Oh yeah, all the way.
I have to stop right here because I just got a message from Remonda's sister, my sweet, beautiful 17-year-old granddaughter, Brittany, who is sitting there listening to the show, and she says, "You're doing awesome. I love you," and talk about how she impacted all of her family members to accomplish their dreams. My mom to be a great mom, my dad for him to stay a great dad, like my mom, and little John to start thinking about his future and my Army career, 'cause I wouldn't be far without all of y'all. Not only that, but not without her. She didn't like it, but she said I could go if I built her house. You're doing amazing. Love you, Nana. I love what you were doing to get her story out. That was Brittany. Now, before we get into Remonda, let's just do a little history here. I told you in my little paragraph that Brandy had several children before she married John. Brandy, you were what, 15 when you had your first one?
17.
17 years old, she had her first child. Right behind him, she had another one. Right behind him, she had another one. Right behind him, she had Brittany. So she had 4 children when she met. I love with all of my heart. John is a son to me, in spite of our rocky beginning.
Together.
So I want you to tell the audience what Miss Brittany was talking about.
My daughter, Brittany, who is this upcoming year she's a staff sergeant in high school, 11th grade. This year, when she goes to the 11th grade, she will be promoted to master sergeant. Her dream since she was 10 years old was to go to the Army. I have no reason why. I have no clue why. That's what she wanted to do. But I have her back. If that's what she wants to do, she's going to do it because she's not a quitter. She takes her ROTC very pridefully. She loves what she does, and she wants to go fight for our country. Talking her out of it several times, or to go to the Air Force. But she chose the Army. So as a mother, I stand behind her in her decisions. Her sister didn't too much like it because she was going to go fight. But like Remonda told her, you build me a 20-bedroom house with 20 bathrooms, you can go. But you got to hire a maid because I'm not cleaning. So I have to stand behind my daughter. And if that's what she wants to do, I'm with her.
So tell them what Brittany's going to be doing at the end of her junior year.
Her junior year next summer, between her junior and senior year, she will be going off to boot camp. Too thrilled. But, like I said, it is her dream. It's what she's going to do. And I will back her 100% in what she wants to do. So she goes to boot camp for 2 months. She comes back home. She does her senior year. She graduates. And then she's off to the Army. Travel the world, see the sights. But what she doesn't know, she's going to pay her mommy a $10,000 allowance every month for putting up with her.
So
she just told me I was crazy.
So now, let's see if I can get this to work. And then we're going to start talking about the legacy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the last gift that we have from Remonda. That sound that you just heard is Remonda's actual heartbeat that is now in the body of the 12-year-old child. Little Remonda Victoria. She was named after the aunt who had been murdered. She was a free spirit from the first day. Her face lit up her daddy's world. Life took an upswing. The man who thought he would never get a driver's license did. He provided for his family on a chicken farm, a job that was 24/7 and never ending. He never complained. He just worked. When the opportunity rose for John to do something he never thought possible, Remonda encouraged him. He became a volunteer firefighter in their county and then took it one step more and became a certified first responder. She was so proud of him, and in turn, he became proud of the man he was becoming. Her mother worked as a server in the local restaurants and worked the farm on the weekends. The older children learned how to work on this farm, all but Remonda. The owner of the farm would not allow visitors to the home. He always wanted to know who was there and why. The children were not allowed to have friends over to spend the night. The family could not have get-togethers. Chicken farms are meant to be worked, not for a social life. The pay is poor, and the life is backbreaking. And Brandy, now, I want you to tell the listening audience why Remonda could not work on that chicken farm And when she was diagnosed?
When she was 6 months old, she was diagnosed with asthma, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis. As she got older, her immune system was no longer. She no longer had an immune system, and she was allergic to everything outside. So we moved off the farm. She found a place over in Maysville, Georgia. We came to look at it. The other children did not know what we were doing. It was a surprise. We came in and looked at it. First place we seen, and Remonda says, "We'll take it." I says, "Remonda, let's go look and see if we can find something. Find something else. We don't have to pick the first place we see." "Nope, this is it. This is home. This is mine." Okay, all said, done, and over with. We're buying the place that Remonda picked out. Remonda was free-spirited. She did not like drama. She did not like fighting. She loved to sing. She loved to dance. She had her first Christmas here. Go ahead, Mom.
Tell the audience what happened before y'all moved off the farm while she was in school in Banks County.
She had a severe asthma attack at school. She had her inhalers at school. She knew how to use them. She had her nebulizing machine at school with her albuterol. We got a phone call. John told me they're hauling Remonda off in an ambulance to go to the school. So I get in my car and I meet the ambulance at the school to find out what's going on with my daughter. Children are looking out the window of her class. Some are crying, wondering what is going on and if they will ever see her again. So she goes to the hospital. She had a severe asthma attack. They get her better, gave her some steroids. Well, one of her teachers had come to see her at the hospital because the principal told her, "Go check on Remonda." So that's what she did. She left school to go to the hospital to check on Remonda. Remonda.
You there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah.
Remonda recovered from the asthma attack. She had to do homeschool for a while.
Why did she have? What I'm getting at is, remember, the reason she had the asthma attack, if memory serves me correctly, because I'm old, wasn't she made to do something that she could not do, which brought on the asthma attack, because one of the coaches told her she had to do it because they did not believe that asthma was so severe. Am I correct in that?
Yes, she was in PE, and she told the coach she needed to go to the nurse because she could not breathe, and he would not let her go to the office to get her inhaler.
So what happened is, because this coach did not have the knowledge of when a child with asthma says, "I cannot breathe," that you don't waste time. You get that child its medicine. She had to be transported via ambulance.
Yes.
That was a close call. That was the first close call. We've had a couple with her, have we not?
Yes, she kept pneumonia. She's been in oxygen tents. She's been hospitalized numerous of times. She's had blood work done. She visited the doctor at least 3 times a week, sometimes more. Just when she said it was time to go.
It was time to go.
Time to go.
When she because she had these secondary skin diseases, the dermatitis, the psoriasis, and the eczema, what would happen when she would break out? What would happen at school? And
she got bullied.
And in other places.
A lot of children bullied her at school, called her a disease, a germ. They didn't want to be her friend. She was contagious. One child went as far as telling her that her mother ought to be ashamed of her for ever being born. There's been grown adults that have picked on her, just saying ugly, ugly things. We would go out in public and people would look at her like she was some kind of weird monster that just appeared. And
how did that make her feel?
It made Remonda feel really bad, and she was ashamed to go out in public for a while. And then she started looking at.
But she wouldn't wear short sleeves either, would she?
Sometimes no, she would not, because her skin. Especially when her skin was acting up really bad, she would not wear short sleeves or shorts. She had to be covered. She's looked at people out in public and asked them, "What are you looking at? Do you have a problem?"
And any of y'all that have seen the preview for the show, there's pictures of this beautiful child. And she was a beautiful child. Why did you finally pull her out of school? What was the breaking point of when you pulled her out of school?
The bullying. Just people being bullies. It broke her self-esteem down. It broke her confidence down to where she did not like herself. She felt ugly all the time. Felt like she didn't have any friends. She stayed sad all the time, depressed. And to me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
All right. Tell the audience what changed when you were in Walmart.
I had gotten off from my job. I worked at Sonny's Barbecue. My husband and my daughter came to pick me up that day, and we had to run to the local Walmart as usual every day. Well, we'd done our little shopping. We were standing in line. I don't pay attention to who's behind me. I'm just ready to pay for my stuff and get out. Well, Remonda slides right up beside me, and you would have to see the look on this child's face. She slid up beside me, just cool, calm, collective. She says, Mom. I said, what, honey? She says, don't look now. BG's right behind you.
And who is BG?
Brantley Gilbert. And, of course, I have to turn around, and Brantley Gilbert is standing behind me in line in Walmart, ready to check out, on his phone talking.
Tell the people who Brantley Gilbert is, because some people that don't know country music don't know who Brantley Gilbert is.
Brantley Gilbert is a new country singer. He grew up in Jefferson, Georgia, and he is a very just cool, calm, collective, low-key guy that talks to everybody. Remonda loved his music. Remonda could sing every one of his songs. And she always told me, Mom, if I ever meet Brantley Gilbert, I'm going to run up and give him a big kiss on the cheek and hug his neck.
So what happened at Walmart?
That day in Walmart, Remonda walked back over to her daddy, just cool, calm, and collective. I'm still standing in line waiting to check out. Well, I check out, tell the cashier, have a good afternoon. Well, one of the customer service managers, Lou Ann, walks up to me because she knows me and she knew Remonda. She says, Brandy, does Remonda want her picture taken with Brantley today? And I said, well, if he could spare 5 minutes, that would be awesome. But if not, we'll catch him on the flip side. It's no problem. Well, then the wave started. All these grown women started flying up in his line. He told him to kindly back off. He was trying to purchase his product. And he says, if I decide to take pictures today, that young lady right over there will be the first one I get a picture with. And he was talking about Remonda. So when he gets done checking out, he asked Remonda, would you like a picture? And we literally had to shove her over there because she was nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
And it was not a good day for her, was it?
No, her skin was very, very bad that day, and she felt really ugly, very contagious. She stood about 10 feet away from Brantley. Brantley looked down at her, and he says, what's wrong? She said, nothing. Why are you, and he says, well, why are you so scared? She says, I don't know. Well, he took his arm, put it around my daughter, and pulled her into his side where we could get a picture. He looked at her, he says, don't be nervous. It's okay. If the lights would have went out in Walmart that day, her face would have lit the whole world up. And from that day forward, her whole life changed. She did not feel ugly. She did not feel contagious. And she wore the biggest smile on her face. And when we went to go pick my oldest daughter up, Brittany, from my sister's house that day, of course, Remonda has to jump out of the car and say, guess who I seen in Walmart today? And Brittany says, oh, don't start that I seen this Brantley nonsense because you didn't. Well, Remonda pulls my phone out and shows Brittany the picture of her and Brantley, and boy, my daughter had a fit. Well, the only thing Remonda could tell Brittany was, if you'd have stayed at home, you'd have got to meet him too, and started laughing.
Well, what month was that?
In August of 2014.
So then let's fast forward to Mother's Day of 2015.
I went to my grandmother's house to spend Mother's Day with my grandmother. Me, my husband, Remonda, Little John, Cherokee, my son, and my husband, John, and Little Man. We go to my grandma's and spend the day with my grandmother and my grandfather, and my Uncle Stanley and my cousin Jeremiah. And Remonda just being Remonda. We were grilling out hamburgers. Papa and John had went to the grocery store. Remonda gets in my grandmother's lap and looks at her dead in the eyes and says, I love you. And just melted my grandma where she sat. Because Remonda loved her grandma, her papa, her Uncle Stanley, of course, because they both loved WWE wrestling, and her sister. It was a wonderful moment, but in that time we did not know 2 months later she would not be here.
What happened on Father's Day? Shall I
Father's
refresh
Day,
you?
we went tubing in hell. No.
Yep.
Yes, we did. We went tubing in Helen. And she laughed, and the best days of our life.
Didn't she get dumped out of the tube?
No, her daddy did.
Ah.
Because he was on his knees in the tube, and they were latched together, and he fell out, and I thought she was going to fall out laughing at him because he fell out of his tube.
And her daddy has a motorcycle, doesn't he?
He does.
Tell us about her daddy and the motorcycle.
We went to Cleveland to visit some friends, David Boswell and Tammy Boswell, who are really good friends of ours. We went up to a campground up there and spent the weekend with them. Well, Blood Mountain runs right at the base of behind their house. Well, Remonda kept telling her daddy, Daddy, you going to take me up Blood Mountain? We going up Blood Mountain. He says, well, baby, I've done drank one beer. Well, David Boswell looked at John and said, man, if you don't mind, I'd be more than happy to ride her up Blood Mountain. David goes and pulls his motorcycle out of the shed, cranks it up, and of course Remonda grabs my helmet. And David takes her up Blood Mountain. They didn't go all the way to the top. He turned around and come back about halfway. Well, Remonda come back down Blood Mountain, got back to the house, and she says, yep, I'm the queen of the road. I am. I went up Blood Mountain. Well, that's all David could talk about was how she rode. He said he would ride her any day of the week on that motorcycle because that child was born to ride.
She was a free spirit.
She was a very free spirit.
There's a racetrack up where y'all live.
The Atlanta Dragway.
Tell, if my listening audience remembers, my son-in-law became a first responder.
Volunteer firefighter.
And a volunteer firefighter. And he worked that drag strip every year. That was one of Remonda's favorite places to go. Now, you've got to tell the audience, and I hope Elaine is listening, what happened one year when Remonda was at the drag strip.
It's been about 3 or 4 years ago. We went to the Night of Fire, which is a big 4th of July show they have going on. They have the funny cars, Top Fuel cars, and, of course, Remonda's favorite, the jet fuel cars. Well, we're walking around the tents as her daddy's, making sure all the drivers are okay. And she walks up to Miss Elaine Larson, who is a jet fuel car driver, the top in the world. She walks up to this grown woman, like Remonda is a grown woman, with a hand on that hip, and looks at Elaine Larson and says, you kissed my daddy. And Elaine says, I did. She says, yes, you did. And Miss Elaine says, well, who is your daddy, honey? She says, you see that man over in that fire suit? She said, that is my daddy. She says, well, what did Mama say? I said, well, Mama didn't say nothing. She says, well, I tell you something. She says, when I run again, I'm going to kiss your daddy twice. Once for me and once for you. And Remonda looked at her. She says, okay, that's fine. Like she needed her approval to kiss her daddy on the cheek.
So let's fast forward to last June 26th. That was the weekend of Night of Fire.
The 27th, June 27th.
Where were you on June 27th?
I had picked Remonda up that Friday from her nanny. Me, her, and my niece Renee coming home. We were jamming out in the car, as always, Remonda did. And the song that was playing was Becky G, Shower. Remonda says, Mama, this is an awesome song. You got to listen to it. I was like, okay, play it. So Remonda is dancing in the front seat of the car to Becky G, Shower. We get home. Remonda's fine. She was excited because Saturday morning on June 27th, her and her daddy were going to do the first bike benefit for a young lady. And she was so excited because she was doing her first bike run, and then they were coming to the Night of Fire that me and my niece were working. Well, about 3 o'clock Saturday morning, June 27th, Remonda comes and wakes me up, and she says, Mommy, I can't breathe. I said, go get your machine out, and let's do a treatment, and if that doesn't work, we'll go on to the hospital. Okay, Mom, but I'm not ready to go yet. Okay, well, you go do a treatment, and let's see how it works. Well, then she wakes my daughter up, Brittany. Brittany in return wakes up little man, and little man comes flying in the bedroom about 6:30. Daddy, Monda needs you now. Well, of course, her daddy jumps up out of bed like a firecracker, goes in the living room because she had slept with Renee in the living room on a big old air mattress. She's sitting on the edge of the air mattress, and she says, Daddy, I can't breathe. Her daddy goes in the bedroom to get his shoes. Well, Remonda looked at Brittany, and she says, Britt, I got to go to the bathroom. Brittany says, well, come on, I'll help you. Well, when Brittany got her up, she fell down back on the air mattress. Well, Dawn come back into the living room, and she says, Daddy, help me. Daddy, help me. Daddy, help me. That's when she fell back into my niece's lap, unresponsive. I immediately dialed 911. John immediately, firefighter mode kicks in, and he checks for a pulse, checks for her heart. Neither one, he can't feel neither one. So automatically he clears a spot out in the living room floor, and he starts chest compressions as I'm on the phone with 911. Not a sight any of us wanted to see. It was something that we forever have to live with. When the paramedics got here, John's still administering chest compressions.
Now, remember, audience, he is a first responder. He knows exactly what he's doing. Go on, Brandy.
His cousin Jimmy was here helping hold Remonda's head at C-spine, and everything just happened so quick that it's just, I don't understand, or I don't know how he done it, working on his own daughter. They get her out of the house on a gurney, put her in the back of an ambulance.
Before that, let's back up a minute, because I want the audience to understand when the EMT walked in, the female that walked in slung John, who was doing chest compressions on his daughter as a trained EMT, slung him across the room, did not bring in the defib machine, had to send back out for it, so she was missing chest compressions. She goes to, after she gets the defib machine, and the machine says, do not shock, heartbeat found. Go ahead, baby.
Shock is not advised. Is what
because she had a heartbeat.
Yes, because her daddy got her heartbeat going in the house.
Which is very important. Go ahead.
Yes. No O2 was administered at all. In a difficulty breathing call, that is the first thing you bring in is the O2 to put on the patient so oxygen gets to their brain and gets through their system so they don't lose consciousness and their brain is not deprived of oxygen, which they did not put on my daughter. They load her up and bring her out, put her in the back of the ambulance. And, of course, I'm waiting because they've done asked who's riding with your daughter. And my husband says, my wife is riding. I'm following behind. We're going to Northeast Georgia. I'm standing at the back of the ambulance beside a deputy. Well, they load my daughter up, secure her in, shut the doors, and leave.
Without my daughter.
I was in shock, and I was like, I'm supposed to be riding along with her. She's 13 years old. Well, of course, me and my husband leave and go to the hospital they take her to, which was not Northeast Georgia Medical Center. It was Northridge Medical up in Commerce. We get there. It's 2.5 hours before we can see her. They tell us they're going to airlift her out. And because the weather was getting bad, there were storms in Atlanta, so the helicopter could not take off. They sent the CHOA ambulance up here, Scottish Rite. My husband rides with her because the EMTs come out and ask, who are Remonda's parents? We need to know who's riding. So my husband rides with her. I come home and pack a little bag thinking, okay, we're going to stay overnight. I'm just going to pack a little bag and head on down since he's with her. I'm okay with it. Well, we get to Choa, and it was the 6th longest days of our lives. We never left her side. Our really good friend Bruce Matson beat us to the hospital. Him and my niece Renee stayed with us for 6 days down there, and that was when our whole world got turned upside down.
I get a phone call on Monday. First, I get a phone call on that Saturday saying they're transporting her. Then I get a phone call on Monday, and I talk to the nurse, and the nurse says, "Come." I've been around the block a few times, so I knew what was going on. We get there on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, decision was made to take her off life support. It was at that time that Brandy and her husband, my beautiful son-in-law, said, "We will donate her organs." At the time, we did not know if her heart was viable or not. Because what happens when children have an asthma attack and the air can get there, you take it, Brandy, from there.
When they told us on that Wednesday, or it was Thursday, that she was completely brain dead, they had done everything, and John told them no more tests. No more tests were to be run. After they had run 6, Dr. Henry came in the room and told us what was going on. And, of course, Amber was in there with us. She never left our side. She worked on her day off. She came in and took care of our daughter on her day off. And when Dr. Henry came in there to let us know that it was not good, we all fell apart. But they kept her on life support until that Thursday, so all of her family could come in. The ones that wasn't down there could come in. They had took all the restrictions off her room, so she had a room full of people at any given time. We flooded the waiting room. Dr. Henry broke down with us. I've never seen a doctor cry in my life. And this doctor had so much compassion and heartfelt that she was crying with us when she pronounced Remonda brain dead. And then she told us that there was a heart recipient waiting as she spoke to receive Remonda's heart, that her heart was viable enough for us to donate. The only thing we could not donate was her lungs because they were so badly damaged, but they went to research.
Dr. Hembry said it was the worst case of childhood asthma damaged lung she had ever seen.
Yes.
So Brandy and John said, "Can her lungs go to research?" And they said, "Absolutely." Go ahead, baby.
I was just going to say, Scottish Rite was so amazing with our family, with being as big as a family that we are. They never turned anybody down to go back there to see Remonda. And like I said, Remonda had a room of 10, 15 people at a time in PICU 3. And
which is the intensive care unit.
Yes, pediatric intensive care. And I will never forget Amber as long as I live, because I told Remonda she had her toenails painted all kind of wacky bright colors. And I told Remonda, I said, if you don't tell me no, and there's a story behind this, I said, if you do not tell me no, I'm painting your toenails orange and white, Tennessee volunteer colors. And Amber looked at her and she says, baby, you don't worry about what Mama's going to do, because as soon as she goes take the potty break, them things will be red and black Georgia Bulldog colors. My daughter was a very, very avid Georgia Bulldog fan. And she would scream at the TV like them boys could hear her. And she would holler and jump up and down, and every time Georgia played, she was in front of that TV. Now, mind you, my dad is a volunteer who is a Tennessee volunteer. My Papa Jack is a Gator fan. So the house is divided three ways. So you can imagine my house during football season, because when the Georgia Bulldogs beat the Gators, she would blow her Papa Jack's phone up and
she would.
Him, we ate us some gator tail tonight, Papa. And one of the nurses at the hospital told me she was leaving the room for a minute. She was going to change Remonda's bed sheets out. I said, okay. So I'm in there with Remonda. Well, she comes back with a pillowcase. She says, look what I found. I searched and searched, and I was hoping I could find one. Now, they have volunteers that make pillowcases for the children at Scottish Rite. Well, the nurse had brought back a Georgia Bulldog pillowcase for Remonda and put it on her pillow. They decorated her door, because Remonda loved Olaf. Of course, then I took her picture of her and Brantley Gilbert, too, that she would not let go of. And it was amazing how they had so much compassion and just cared what was going on.
If anyone who has never lost a child, you cannot possibly understand the ripping out of your soul. To lose a child that has been ill months, a number of weeks, a number of years, and you are able to prepare yourself for that child to die and go back to God is one thing. But to have a child literally die in your arms from an asthma attack is devastating. My son-in-law struggled and struggled and struggled with guilt that it was not his to bear. He thought he could have done more. It took Dr. Hembry showing him the medical records and explaining to him that he did everything that's humanly possible, and because he was able to get her heartbeat and a pulse back, her legacy, just what this show is about, her legacy could live on. And with organ donation, they told us that this was not just a one-generation donation, that this would be for generations down the road. In other words, this 12-year-old daughter that has Remonda's heart has the ability to grow up and have children, who will have children, who will have children. So our lifeblood, our DNA, goes on perpetually through generations. This is what got my children through this horrible, horrible grief of losing this vivacious, free spirit who didn't mind telling you what it was about, who was very opinionated, but was very loving and forgiving, even when she was bullied, and she was bullied unmercifully. When she's told she's so ugly she'll never get a boyfriend, when she's told that she'll get pregnant by the time she's 15, she's bullied unmercifully, and yet she forgave and she loved. When I did her eulogy, I said, we're not going to mourn her death. We're going to celebrate her life, because everybody that this child touched, Brandy, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody she touched, stranger, friend, family, it did not matter. She left a piece of light with them when she walked away.
Yes, she did. She did. At her funeral, there was over 300 people at her funeral, and we did not know half of them.
Because she touched all those lives. If you have the opportunity and have not done so, consider organ donation.
What are you waiting for?
Because organ donation is perpetual. Do you remember how old the other people were that her liver and her kidneys went to?
I think it was a 68-year-old woman. Got her liver or a kidney, a 38-year-old man, and a 40-year-old man.
So you see, people, these adults that got her other organs have the opportunity to see their children grown, their grandchildren grown, to live their dreams, to do something with their life other than sit around and wait for an organ that may or may not come. When we are put in the ground, when we die, or if we choose to be cremated, our organs, which could be perfectly good, our tissues, our bone marrow, skin, corneas, it can all be used to give someone else a chance to live a dream, even though we aren't here anymore. The gift of life is, there are no words for it. That is Remonda's legacy. And Brandy, has it not helped y'all to grieve and to heal, knowing that Remonda is really still in the universe?
It has helped. I guess the thing that gets us is when certain songs come on, certain TV shows, of course, WWE wrestling, because Roman Reigns was her favorite. Certain places we go, certain things we do, reminds us of Remonda and all the things that she loved to do. The motorcycle, for one. She loved to ride, and we would argue over who was going to ride the bike. And, of course, she would always win, just because she was Remonda and a daddy's girl.
Tell our audience how her death has affected her brothers and her sister.
It has taken a really big toll on them and her daddy, because during lunchtime she would FaceTime her daddy and have their little discussions and talk and laugh, and that was an everyday thing at lunchtime. She would have to FaceTime her daddy. Her sister was her best friend. They talked about God only knows what, because it was kept a secret. But it was sister talk. Her little brother looked up to her because she was, older. And Remonda loved her family. Remonda loved her family a lot.
What does
her Aunt
11?
Melissa.
Go ahead,
Do
baby. What does
She
11:11?
11:11. That was an everyday thing for Remonda. Every day at 11:11, she would post on Facebook, "Make a wish. It's 11:11." So I kind of carried on her tradition, and at 11:11, if I remember to, I always post, "Make a wish. It's 11:11." A good friend of mine that I've known since middle school, Tanya Angel, sent me a post the other day that made me cry and smile at the same time. She says, "For now on, every time I look at the clock at 11:11, I make a wish and I think of you." Tanya has lost a son and a grandson when they were babies. So she knows what we're going through. She knows the hurt and the heartbreak it is, and she's helped me a lot. Her sister-in-law, Miranda Angel, at work that I work with, her daughter and Remonda were really good friends. They went to school together. We have become close since I've got to know her. She helps me through my bad days.
Tell
but
the
11:11.
Tell the people about Angel's little girl and what she said when Remonda died.
When I started my new job, I was wearing a shirt my sister had made that says Remonda, and on the back it has Remonda's name and a cross. And we were talking, and she says, "Is that the little girl that just passed away of an asthma attack?" I said, "It is." I said, "That's my daughter." She says, "No way." I said, "Yeah, why?" She says, "Well, my little girl knew her. They went to school together. And when she found out, she cried because her and Remonda were friends, and it really broke her heart. And ever since then, me and Miranda have been, we've come close. We've become really good friends. I consider her a really good friend. And when I feel like I need to talk or have something that is bothering me, or I'm just having a bad day, I go straight to Miranda at work. And I talk to Tanya because Tanya knows what I'm going through. So we have support. And I did not know that so many children knew Remonda and that were really heartbroken when this happened.
When y'all were at Scottish Rite, I have to plug this because it Chick-fil-A gets a bad rep. And they get a bad rep because they're a faith-based family. My kids live in Jackson County, Georgia. The baby was at Scottish Rite Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a 50-mile trip one way with no traffic. Chick-fil-A in Jackson County, Georgia, sent food down to my children while they were there. Chick-fil-A will forever be in my heart because of that act of kindness. They didn't know my children from Adam's house cat, but they sent food down to my children because they knew that my children were strapped for cash and they were not going to leave. They needed to eat, so they didn't wind up in a bed. When the baby died, of course, we were not expecting her to die, so there was no life insurance, there was no funeral plot, there was no marker. The people that know me and my network, the people in the county where my children live, donated money and a casket for that baby's plot and for her funeral. And a very, very good friend of mine, Michael Phillips, who is in the funeral business down here in Florida, 650 miles away, went above and beyond. And I'm going to let Brandy tell you that story.
Well, I have to give it to City Slickers up here in Maysville, Georgia, Mandy and Jason Ogletree, because they stayed in contact with John. And Mandy got a bike ride up for Remonda to help with everything. And we're still in Atlanta, of course, with our daughter and not really knowing what's going on. A good friend of my mom's, Kelly Kosh, got a GoFundMe page up, which I had no knowledge of. And, you know, I wasn't worried about burying my child. I was worried about bringing my child home. And Papa's sister, Faye, donated a casket for Remonda, and the community was just amazing at a time that we didn't know if we were coming or going, because we were not expecting this. And for everybody to pull together to help was just very, very overwhelming. And Michael done an amazing job on her marker. I talked to him over the phone. He asked me what we wanted on it, because it had to be the bronze marker. So I told him the ideas we had. And, of course, Papa Baker wanted a heart on there, because we donated Remonda's heart. John said, absolutely, Papa, not a problem. Well, Michael went above and beyond the heart. We put a dove on there for peace and love, and, of course, a motorcycle because of her love for the bike. And I had the idea to put CHOA on there, Children's Hospital of Atlanta, because I'm so gracious of them and love them just for who and what they done. Well, Michael told me, he says, I've got one better than just one heart. He said, I'm going to shoot a picture of it and send it to you. Tell me what you think. I said, okay, cool, fine. We can do that. Well, he shot me a picture of the marker that he had done on his computer. Well, it wasn't just a heart. He had done a double heart that was like intertwined with each other. And I said, cool, I like that. Papa would like that too. He said, well, let me tell you the story I come up with. I said, well, okay. He said, you donated Remonda's heart. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, one heart is Remonda's. The other heart is for the recipient that got the heart. And they are forever entwined together.
Once again, Remonda's legacy lives on. Remonda brought an entire community together. She crossed state lines to bring people together. This is her legacy. How many of us at this point in our life can say, if we didn't wake up tomorrow, we could leave that kind of a legacy, that we would be known for something besides the dash between our birth date and our death date? I dare say there are not many of us that would leave even a minuscule of that legacy. Which brings me to another point. My husband is a Florida JCI senator. And any of you know out there, if you've been around for a while, what the JCs are. It's the Junior Chamber of Commerce. It is a group of people up to the age of 40 that are organizers. They're community organizers. They go out and They build parks. They clean up neighborhoods. They learn how to be business people. They learn how to run for elected office. And when you age out, if you are fortunate enough to be awarded the privilege of being a senator, then you become a senator and you're a mentor to the JCs. Well, within the Senate organization, we have a scholarship foundation. And the scholarship foundation is in every state, plus there's a national scholarship foundation. In the state of Florida, it's the Florida JCI Senate Foundation. And what we do as this foundation is we award $1,000 scholarships. And we award the scholarships to a student in the state of Florida from any high school, whether it be public or private, in the state of Florida. Last year, we awarded 6 $1,000 scholarships. Now, some of you may say, well, $1,000 isn't a lot, but yes, it is. $1,000 will buy a quarter's worth of books. So what we decided to do is to keep Remonda's legacy going perpetually is I have set up a named scholarship, and it is called the Remonda Victoria Highfield Scholarship. And in order for this named scholarship to be perpetual, and in order for it to be a named scholarship, we have to collect $20,000. And I know y'all are saying, you're scratching your head going, Yvonne, you just said, is we take that $20,000, we put that $20,000 in an investment. We don't touch that $20,000. Then we take the interest from that $20,000 and give out a $1,000 scholarship. And it is perpetual. We give it out next year, we give it out the year after that, we give it out the year after that. But the $20,000 sits there and grows. We have to raise that $20,000 in order for us to be able to keep Remonda's legacy alive. There is a Facebook page called the Florida JCI Scholarship for Remonda or something like that. I'm brain dead right now. I can't remember. But anyway, I will post it on my page. It gives you all the information of where you need to send your checks. And you don't have to send hundreds of dollars. If you got $5 you want to send it to help keep Remonda's legacy alive, we'll take it. The money goes to the foundation, and once the $20,000 is collected, the scholarship is then named for Remonda. Now, what we want to do in order to keep this beautiful child's legacy going is the criteria for this scholarship will be for a student who is going into the medical field. Now, it could be as an EMT, as a firefighter, because they have to know basic medical procedures, as a nurse, a CNA, an RN, a cardiac care nurse, a specialty nurse, a surgical nurse, a doctor, someone going into research, someone going into microbiology, someone going into the pharmaceutical research, because what we would like to see is for the 625,000 children that die under the age of 15 from asthma, we would like to see that number eradicated. We would like to see one of the students who receives a scholarship to find a cure for asthma. Brandy and I and her daddy and her siblings and the rest of the family do not want to see another child die from asthma. It is the worst death Randy, tell the people about the video and Remonda in the swing right before she died.
She was over at her nanny's and Papa Baker's house and her Aunt Melissa's, and her cousin Caitlin was recording her. And of course, my daughter loved all kinds of music, could sing anything. Well, she's sitting on the swing with her cowboy boots on, her blue jeans, and a shirt, and it's Bruno Mars. You're amazing just the way you are. Well, of course, Remonda has to change the words up, and she's singing. And she says, I'm amazing just the way I am. And that she wouldn't change anything. And I play that video to keep me going, to put a smile on my face. And if she were to see me crying or upset or her daddy crying or upset, she'd say, I'm okay. Quit making a fuss over me. I'm fine. But she's saying everything. Brantley Gilbert, Colt Ford, you name it, she sang it.
I'm going to read something. One of her favorite songs of Brantley Gilbert was, I just lost it, Brandy. What was it?
One hell of an amen.
One hell of an amen. I should have played that one. But what I'm going to...
CJ Plain done a better one. He done a dedication to Remonda, and he played One Hell of an Amen and Bottoms Up, which Remonda loved.
CJ Plain is the one that did my promo for my show, and I am forever grateful for Christopher Plain. He and I have been friends for a long time. I've been on his show for, God, many, many times. Hook up with him. Go on his show. He'll be on my show next Wednesday night, and you will be in for a treat. Thank you, Christopher. 756. We have a few minutes left, and I'm sure that Brandy would love to hear from you. So call in, and we'll take your questions. And while we're waiting on that, I want to read this. This is the end of the story. And it goes, while this life-changing experience has given our family a new normal, it has also shown all of us what appreciation and impact has on others as well as ourselves. Remonda was only 13 years old. However, she touched so many lives in her short time. Even in death, she continues to touch lives. She continues to be appreciated, and she continues making dreams come true. At her wake, the funeral home could not hold the 300 plus people who came to see. People can say they had that much of an impact at the end of their life. I would dare to say very few. The point of the story is not that we lost Remonda. Death happens to us all. The point is that we had this beautiful old soul for 13 wonderful years. And in those 13 years, she left a legacy of love, appreciation, and kindness that is as rare as a perfect diamond. Others. Mm-hmm. It is the dreams that we make a reality. It is our footprint that we leave behind. Mm-hmm. Brandy, you want to add to that, my darling?
She will forever live on, and she will never, ever, ever be forgotten. We go to the cemetery and celebrate her birthday, Christmas. We go celebrate. We just celebrated her 1-year anniversary over there. Her cousin Courtney made a beautiful cake with an anchor on it. Her little cousin Addison loved her Mon to death. Mon taught Addison how to dance, how to sing. Loved being around Remonda. That was Addison's best friend. she touched so many people in such a short time that she was an angel baby, is what Renee and Courtney told us when she was born, because they lost their mother at such a young age, and they said that their mama sent Remonda as an angel baby into their lives to be with them. Remonda, you know, she loved so many, and so many loved her.
Even at her lowest, when people were unkind to her, and we live in an age of bullying, we live in an age of cyberbullying, of face-to-face bullying, where people just bully because I guess people have a low self-esteem. But even at her lowest point, when she was bullied so unmercifully, what we did not know until at the hospital. Remember I told you she was told she would never have a boyfriend? What we did not know is she had a boyfriend.
No, he called her daddy to see if he could come up to see Remonda.
We didn't know. He thought she was beautiful. She was amazing. And when she died, and after the funeral, several months later, he had the respect and the appreciation for what he had lost to contact Brandy and ask Brandy if it was all right if he started seeing another young lady. A true Southern gentleman, just like Brantley Gilbert. And we forgot to tell them what Brantley and his wife Amber did for Remonda when she was in the hospital.
Brantley and Amber got married, and they were on their honeymoon when Remonda was in the hospital. Well, John, my husband, gets this text from an unknown number. We have no clue who it was. And it is a written letter from Brantley and Amber with Brantley's hat turned backwards and two of his bracelets on each side, sending us wishes, prayers, thoughts, and they were so sorry they could not be there because they were out of the country on their honeymoon. They were praying for Remonda and for the family. And to this day, we don't know who sent it. It was somebody that obviously knows Brantley really well, if it was one of his band members, or if he sent it to the band member to send to us, we don't know. But we read that to her as we were all crying. We read that to her as she was laying in the bed on life support. And we all cried. And I've never got to thank him for doing what he done the day in Walmart when he met her and she met him, and when he sent that letter. But it was so heartfelt.
He was the true Southern gentleman. When people are hurting, a small act of kindness goes a long way. We forget that. Remonda never did. We forget that everyone is Remonda never did. We forget that people have things going on in their lives, and sometimes they're not always kind. And what adults forget is their children see their actions and respond in kind. Children are bullies because they see bullying. Children are mean because they see meanness. Children are unkind because people have been unkind to them. Let part of Remonda's legacy be teach your children that we all have a place in this world. We all have burdens we carry. And that we all need to be kinder to each other. We need to hold out that hand to help someone up. We need to find that person who does not have self-confidence, who feels ugly. We need to embrace that person. We need to be kinder to those who we deem as being different. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're all different. I live in a right-handed world. We are all handicapped. None of us are perfect. Let part of Remonda's legacy be that we treat others as we want to be treated. That we hold out that hand, that we pay it forward, that we reach out, we laugh, we love, and we forgive often, and we forget always. Brandy, I've got about 5 minutes left, baby. I'm going to let you say whatever's on your mind.
Sign up to be an organ donor. You never know who you're going to save. You can even be a live organ donor. There's people that receive kidneys and livers and lungs from live donors. You can change somebody's life. You could change their whole world. It could be a family member. It could be your best friend. It could be your grandmother, your mother, your father, your sister. If you can donate. You never know whose life you're going to change. And in our case, we've changed 4 people's lives just because of the decision that we made. Because that's what my daughter would have probably wanted to do. She loved everybody. And when she was probably about 2 years old, she thought her name was Apple because her papa always told her, "You're the apple of Papa's eye." So for the longest, she thought her name was Apple. But
she also didn't she also ask someone, was it Melissa, she asked about going to heaven?
I think it was her Aunt Ramona. About 2 weeks before all this happened, she was talking to her Aunt Ramona and asked her, Aunt Ramona, should she be scared to die? Just out of the blue. And if she were to die today, would she go to heaven or hell? It kind of blew Ramona out of the water, and Ramona told her, she's like, well, baby, you shouldn't be scared to die, but, you know, a lot of loved ones are going to be upset, you know, and hearts are going to be broken. And, of course, you would go to heaven because you're one of God's children, and that was the last time that conversation was ever spoke of. She loved unconditionally, very unconditionally. And she loved going to the beach. She was my beach bum. She loved to go swimming. She was a normal little girl, or young lady. And she lived one day at a time.
So now this 12-year-old girl who has her heart has part of the free-spiritedness and the awesomeness and the Remonda-ness in her.
I just hope she don't ask for a slushy and a Slim Jim.
Well, we are down to almost less than a minute. I want to say thank you, my darling child. I know this was painful, but I also know that it helped you. It's helped me. Thank you to my listening audience for listening to my debut show. I am booked up through the middle of December. I'm looking for guests. We will have Christopher Plain on next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock right here at Off the Chain. And I can promise you it will be off the chain. Be an organ donor. Contribute to Remonda Scholarship. Know that we are all here for a reason, and we all leave something behind. What do you want to leave behind? Brandy, I'll call you when we get off. The last thing I want to say, and Brandy, say it with me. Fly high.
Fly high, Remonda.
Fly high, Remonda. And with that, we end our show. I hope you have enjoyed it. I can be reached on Facebook under Yvonne Mason at YvonneMason84@yahoo.com. This show will be in archives. You will be able to download it. You will be able to replay it and pass it along. Please share it. Please help grow my audience. Brandy, thank you again, and I will talk to you in a little while. Good night and fly high, Remonda.
Fly high, sweet girl.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything!
Beneath the sands of time, the Snake King slumbers. Legend says one day he will rise and cast a curse so powerful it will make our world spin. Forwards, backwards, and spinning all around. Come face to Fang with the Snake King. Cobra's Curse, the new one-of-a-kind family spin coaster, now open at Busch Gardens. And right now, purchase a full-paid single-day admission and receive free all-day dining. Details at buschgardenstampa.com. Taxes and service fees not included. Restrictions apply.